Demkowski's here, Tasha Killinger's here, Carl Weber is here, which is super exciting. Carl, I did send you an email. Um, Looking forward to that. But let's see here. We'll wait probably just a couple more minutes because we're a little bit early. Um, but once again, I want to thank everyone for showing up today. We're always so pleased and happy and excited to be assisting with these webinars, to be having the promotions from the city, from the chamber, and from SWEDA and other organizations. Like, it is incredible the amount of support to hear these stories. We know that as business owners, it can sometimes be a little bit lonely. It can be difficult, and if you have problems with employees, who do you complain to about them? It's it's hard, just because you can't always share everything to everyone, but you always want to be sensitive that you're not oversharing. And so this is a great space for us to have that camaraderie, and even share these stories of, okay, how are you working through this part of the government loans, or how are you doing this part, or how has this impacted you? Um, we are just so blessed to be in such a great community as this, to be able to have these conversations and even more excited to have Kimberly DeHart with us, who in the midst of COVID is opening a new business in Colfax that I am super duper excited to hear about. And actually, with that, I'll hand it over to you, Kimberly, um, and introduce yourself. Where did you grow up in Colfax? Are you from Colfax? How did you get to this point of, I should open a new business here?
Good afternoon, everybody. Some of you know me as Kimberly DeHart, and some of you don't know me, but I'm Kimberly DeHart. Thank you all for coming, and I recognize some names and faces. My fan club, I so appreciate you being here. I'm actually originally from California, not originally, but I came here from California about 15 or 16 years ago. And I want to say that it's Marie who's joined us, who calls me the serial entrepreneur. I think she was the one that started that.
So I absolutely 100%. You don't sit still, Kimberly. You're just,
yeah.
Let's do something else.
Exactly. So the question of what made me decide to start a business in COVID is somewhat irrelevant, because it wasn't about starting a business in COVID. It was about starting a business, and having a wine bar was probably one of the first things I wanted to do in Colfax, because I arrived not knowing anyone and realized the only thing to do at night was either to go to what at the time seemed to me a very scary tavern, because the windows were all boarded, or go to the library, which was a great option, except for I couldn't get a library card until I had my first utility bill, which meant about a month that I was at the library every night because I couldn't check anything out. So at that time, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a coffee house or a wine bar to go sit and relax in the evening with a book or whatever? And that's kind of has stuck. And Colfax was going through a growth spurt at the time, and having a few town hall meetings and trying to decide what the town wanted. And a lot of the town wanted a coffee house. And so we went through that process, and in the end, we had 4 or 5 coffee houses, and now we're back to just a couple. But that was done. So it left me to do the wine bar, and here we are.
I love it. And how did you come into your building? How did you come into the space?
The building has intrigued me since I moved here, and probably 2 or 3 years after being here, it went up for sale. And I looked at it, and it was a much different building than it is today. But there was something about it that I loved. And unfortunately at that time, or fortunately, it wasn't my time to own it. I didn't have the money. Someone else bought it, and they did a few things with it, did a lot of remodeling work. And when they were ready to sell it, I came back into the picture, and my daughter and I bought it. And
Wow.
we owned it for, I think that was in 2015. So, or 14. So we owned it till 2017, I believe.
Hmm.
And people started telling us that our building was worth over twice as much as we paid for it. So we decided maybe we shouldn't love it as much as we did. It was just an investment. So we kind of put it out there, and someone came along and bought it. And that someone was Carrie VL, who is the gallery owner of Pairings Fine Art and Gallery. I mean,
Oh,
Fine
okay.
Art and Wine Bar. And she loved the building as much as I did. So we kind of talked about in our negotiations of their purchase, someday, wouldn't it be great to have a gallery? She wanted to have a gallery, and she knew that building was meant for that. And I said, well, let me know when you're ready, because I'd love to have a wine bar, and that would be a great combination.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they bought it, and they had some tenants and did some things, and their tenants were moving out, and they wanted to let me know because they knew I had some connections that might help them replace tenants. And I threw out, well, how much are you going to rent it for? Their question back was, why do you want to know? I said, well, I've never forgotten about that wine bar. And her and her husband invited me over for dinner, and they had already drawn up plans, and it just happened. That was, I think, in May or June or something of this past year. And it was just done. It was like, okay, let's do this. And here we are.
I love it. I love it. So then where is the business at today as it stands? Like, are you guys still waiting on some licenses from the city, or is remodeling done? How is it looking?
The gallery is absolutely gorgeous. The wine bar is absolutely gorgeous. The gallery is open on Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 4 currently. And the wine bar, though it is built and beautiful and ready to have people sitting at it, we cannot do that yet. We do have our wine and beer license, so we can sell wine by
Awesome.
the bottle. So people can come in and have a view of what their experience might look like when they're able to actually sit at the bar. They can roam through the gallery at this point and spend time enjoying the art and or purchasing it. We don't have our kitchen completely built. It's
Okay.
getting close. I'm hopeful that in a couple of weeks it'll be ready. And at that point, we'll do takeout food, even if we can't have people sit down yet. I think the electricians will be in by the end of the week, and then the plumber. And so we're just
Yeah.
about done with that. So I need to get the rest of my equipment for the kitchen, and then we're ready to go. So I'm thinking takeout food by Valentine's at least, if not sooner.
Wow. Wow. So what kind of menu is going to be going with the wine pairings? You can tell I don't go to wine bars very often myself. So I don't know what like foods go with that.
Well, we'll have some pairings. Fun. We've already done a test run of a pairing of chocolate and wine. And I think every day of my life, I do a test of cheese and wine pairings. But we're planning on somewhat of an eclectic, I don't know if eclectic's the right word, but something a little different than what you would see in Colfax.
Okay.
We're going to call it gourmet. We believe that that's what a lot of Whitman County will call it.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
we're not going to go to extreme gourmet. We're not going to have raw fish on the menu. We want it to be an enjoyable experience for the entire county and beyond. Yet we don't want to compete with the other restaurants that are there.
Yeah.
long-standing restaurants in our community loves them. I love them. They're feeding me through this process. No competition whatsoever. So it'll be a little different menu. We'll have pretty much small plate type food,
Yeah.
flatbreads, charcuterie boards, cheese, and crackers. We will have some sliders. Some of this has changed and is changing as we speak, due to the fact that I have to revisit the menu and turn it into a to-go menu.
Yeah.
And some of that is not as easily done with the small plate food. Portions and packaging. So I'm now visiting maybe more than one slider option and 3 or 4 flatbread options. And I think we're going to do just maybe some gourmet sausage, beautiful hoagie bun type thing.
Gotcha.
And that's going to be to go. Fancy chips, fancy salads, stuff like that.
No, that's perfect.
We will have what we're calling date night on Saturday night, and that will be a special menu that is an option if you make a reservation on a Friday night by time we close for a very specific time and a very specific food off of a 4 option menu. And that'll be a nicer meal. That'll be a chicken with a veggie and a salad or a pasta or something like that. And that's only on Saturday nights. And Sunday will be brunch. And Sunday we will have a lot of unique brunch items. A chicken and egg burrito, fancy avocado toast, stuff like that.
I love it. I love it. That's so exciting. So then do you have people already kind of lined out the door saying, "Hey, we're ready. We're ready. We're ready. Let us in."
Yeah, we are seriously considering making, when we are able to open, knowing that most likely our opening will be a 25% capacity rule. We're pretty sure we're going to have to do reservations.
Awesome. That's so exciting.
Probably have to be timed. So if you make a reservation, you'll know that you have an hour and a half to enjoy sitting at that table before the next reservation comes in. Just because of the response exactly of people coming in and saying, we can't wait till you're open. We can't wait till we can sit down and enjoy your menu. And we can't wait to have a place to go have a Sunday brunch. So it'll be interesting to see that rush. I think it'll be a rush. I think it'll be kind of a slam, and then it'll calm down a little bit and we can maybe just get into some normal pace.
Yeah, no, that I think you're accurate, and I like how you're having that anticipation to run with it as well, because I went by the new Euro place last night. I don't remember its name, but they had a line of cars through their parking lot, through the Daily Grinds parking lot, and almost going into the street over by our Harbor Freight and Grocery Outlet. Yeah, Nikki's. Yeah. And I think people are excited for these things. And I think a lot of people are excited for that experience to be able to sit down and know what to expect. I've been hearing reports of restaurants in Moscow where they'll try and kick you out as soon as possible. They don't even ask you if you want dessert. It's, hey, we got to flip this table. You've been here too long. We got to clean it. Please get out. Where other ones, you sit and wait for 2 hours because their takeout is taking up so much of the kitchen that they're not able to do that in-person dining very well either. And so there's this really interesting spot where you're able to come in and say, you're here for an experience. You're here for a delightful time. You will have a set amount of time and enjoy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that. It does kind of give me a little more security about my decision to say you have an hour and a half, or I don't want people to feel rushed, because
Yeah,
when we can open completely, I will still have a need for kind of timing the tables. We only have 4 tables, two of which are able to seat four, and well, one for sure four, and the other one potentially 6 people.
hmm
But even then, our table seating is limited. And so I feel like even when we can completely be open, there will still be a need for people to understand if they're going to sit down and have a meal at the table, that's great. But they might want to get up and take, once they're done eating, take their glass of wine or their beer or whatever beverage and wander around the gallery, or maybe come sit at the
absolutely.
bar and let other people have the table. So there's going to kind of be a balance we'll have to figure out to promote that.
hmm But that'll be
And
the
yet
the really
still,
cool culture piece that you guys get to provide, and you guys
yes.
get to set that tone. And once again, if we're able to sit down and just have a meal, and I didn't have to cook it, that sounds amazing.
Right,
And I
right.
don't have to clean, and I don't have to like. There's um, among a lot of my friends, like we're hurting, we're missing it, and so it's and to have an additional experience with it too, of the gallery, I think is going to be absolutely wonderful. And so then, has any government assistance come into play as you're creating the space? Like, how's that been?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wrote my business plan anticipating, I had 5 copies printed, bound real nicely, anticipating presenting them to investors. And I have been fortunate to have received 2 grants. And with those 2 grants, I don't need an investor.
Wow.
So I I don't even know what to say. I would not have had those same grant opportunities if it weren't the time of being in a pandemic. Not to say everyone should rush out and start a business because there's grant money out there, but it certainly has been a comfort to
hmm
know that there were those opportunities. If they didn't happen, my business plan was prepared to enlist investors. But what a satisfying feeling to have, knowing this is mine.
Yeah.
This is all mine. And I feel fortunate to have had that timing and that support.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And do you currently have employees right now?
I have 3 wonderful young people biting at the bit to get started. In fact, one of them popped in Saturday night and said, I just came to see what's happening and I can't wait. I'm not doing anything else now because of COVID. And all 3 of them, again, fortunately, they're all coming to me already licensed to pour alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, I don't understand it, but here they are. I'm so happy. One of them is going to be coming from, his education was in Walla Walla in viticulture or something wine related, something industry related. And he worked a year or 2 in the industry. And then he moved back home, which was Colfax, and was the assistant athletic director for the girls basketball or something like that at the Colfax High School. And saw that we were opening a wine bar and came in and said, hey, I can do this. I'd love to be a part of it. So here we are. I've got 3 people, talented, ready, 2 of which I already know. I don't know this young man as well, but I certainly think he's going to be an asset to the company.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. And so then are you routinely communicating with them then too? And
Yes, yes, we are. All 3 of us. One of them I work at my day job. She works there, so I see her daily. And the other one I've known for years. And then this new young man who certainly comes with a lot of experience. Um, I think he'll fit right in.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I am a firm believer that my success is not just for me and based on me, and to have people come and work with me. If I could teach anybody this who's starting a business, don't hesitate to bring somebody into your business as an employee, or if you're looking for partners, who knows more than you. You don't have to know everything. The best thing you can do is to surround yourself with people who take whatever you know and can make it greater.
Yeah.
Way more successful than you thinking you need to be the king on the hill and run and know everything. I just think my business is going to be so much more successful having these young people who know way more than me. And I'm going to let them keep those positions, and I'm just going to enjoy it and learn from them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And I 100% agree with that sentiment. It's, my dad always told me that anything great that we do in this life is not because of our own efforts, but by the efforts of a collective working towards a singular goal. And
Right.
it is radically, radically true.
Yeah.
And we see that in our office, we see that in all kinds of different venues. And so then as I'm hearing you talk about the food menu, having these young people being able to work with you, not having to do investors, has your business model pivoted any more than it sounds like it already has?
Yes. Referencing my business plan again. um, it's all mapped out, and the whole map is flipped with COVID. So some of the things I'm doing right now in my business, I kind of had earmarked for in a year or two. In a year, we'll try to add this. And then in 2 years, we'll look at this other piece. And that'll just be how we'll continue to grow our market. And due to all of the COVID mandates and rules changing and going back and forth, and I've just kind of had to look at some of those pieces as what to do right now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really what my business is. The model of I'm going to have a wine bar, and I'm going to have some food in the back that's going to be served. And this is the plate it's going to be served on, and the glass the wine's going to be poured in, and the beer I'm going to serve. And all of that stuff is great in my plan, but I can't do that right now. And if I follow my business plan to the T, I wouldn't be open yet.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have any income. I would have nothing. So another lesson, business plan is huge. Every person who thinks they want to have a business should have a plan. And it doesn't mean that it's this big, full of many chapters books. It can be very simple, but there should be a plan. But you need to be flexible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
you don't get to control everything that happens.
Yeah, and that being said, like we work with a lot of partners that help guide us in a lot of ways, especially the SBDC. Me and Aziz, we meet weekly just to help me stay on track. And of course, the chamber and other community outreach groups. How has that been in the mix with your setup?
It's part of it. I learned that a long time ago in my life. The importance, again, of surrounding yourself with resources and knowledge. And having had a prior business in my life,
Mm-hmm.
could not have had the business I had without the Chamber of Commerce and in that particular area. And one
Wow.
of the first relationships I've had since I moved here was the Chamber of Commerce in Colfax. I quickly joined that group as just being, I didn't own a business, but I was managing a business at the time. And just that
Mm-hmm.
involvement, I was able to meet a lot of very important people who now play a completely different role, but are very important to my support system, to the knowledge they can bring, the relationship that I've built with them through other community aspects, partnering with them in other ways. It's just exciting to build those relationships. And the Small Business Association, I was referred to Aziz from someone who had used his counseling and support. And you just can't you don't happen upon that. You really, it's
Mhm.
really an important structure and it should always be part of your business. I don't think at any time should I say my business is big enough now that I don't need the support of the Small Business Association, or I don't need the Chamber of Commerce anymore. I just feel like that should never happen. You always need that community support in one way or another, and the tools and the knowledge and the resources they bring are endless.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's wonderful the way they help and serve. And so then if you're have those organizations that you're working with and you have people asking you, hey, when is this happening? When is this opening? How are you connecting most with your potential clients and customers coming in?
I'm laughing because we had a big shopping experience in Colfax this last weekend. One of the local businesses, if I might plug their name, Bully for You, they do a great business and they bring a lot of people to town from far, far away and from close. And we're lucky to be across the street from them. So I'm laughing because Carrie and I were at the gallery in the wine bar and we were just stunned at how many people were walking around Colfax.
Wow.
We'd never seen it. It was as if somebody had put a block at the other end of town and they were trapped there. There were so many people. And we would walk to the windows and look out and say, how do we get those people to come over here? So it's almost like we're going out and pulling them off the street to come in.
Yeah.
But on a far simpler method, social media, you got to have signage. You got to be kind of clear in your signage. It can't be a secret what you're selling when they walk through the door. Colfax is a town that people talk. It's word of mouth, and knowing the right people to tell the right things to helps get the word out there. Talking about it. Sometimes people have started new businesses and they cover the windows with black paper or something.
Yeah.
And they don't want anybody to know their business. It's a top secret until the day they can unlock the door and say, grand opening, come in. And I said, we're not doing that. I want people to know from day one, there's going to be wine poured out of this building. And I want them coming and saying, when can I have it? When can I have it? And every day seeing something new that they're like, wow, that's happening. What's going to happen tomorrow? And I just felt like we just need to put it out there because people are going to be excited about it. And then they're going to talk. And pretty soon there's going to be like this crazy little heat buzzing out of that building because people are so excited for it to happen. And that's kind of how we did it. We didn't keep it a secret. We did have some newspaper on the windows, but we would put little tears in it and little things so people could come and peer in. We only put it up there because it was going to get really messy and the contractors weren't really crazy about being in there and building something. And, pardon me for saying, maybe not the right view of you through the window. And so we did that for kind of a little privacy for them, but we kept the little holes in the paper and stuff so people could see in and get excited.
Love it. I love it. And so then are you, are there local suppliers of wine and beer or
Yes.
Ferdinand's cheese or Gruyere cheese that will be available as well in the process?
Yes, I'm very much shop local. So my wine is coming from Idaho, the eastern region that we live in for Idaho and Washington, and then some Walla Walla choices. And the beer, I haven't completely gotten into that yet.
Okay.
It'll be a minor piece. Beer and seltzers will be a minor choice on the menu because I do want to accommodate anyone. But you will never forget that you're in a wine bar. I'm just saying. And we're going to have some fabulous non-alcoholic drinks. They're beautiful. They're going to be yummy. That's something we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. My little group of bartenders and I will be getting together, and they'll be making me these non-alcoholic drinks, and we'll see how that goes to get some on the menu. But the beer, back to the local stuff, the beer will come. I know there's a couple of breweries here locally, and I've heard of someone somewhere in Whitman County has their business license to produce and distribute beer. So I've got to hook up with that person, and I'm working on that piece of it. The cheese I've been getting it from Deary. Brush Creek Creamery is also, their business is combined with the Pie Safe. Another
Gotcha.
plug. If you haven't been to the Pie Safe, you need to go. And there's another local producer who is in Colfax, and they're still working on their business model. So I don't know how much I can say about them as far as brand naming and stuff. I don't know how prepared they are to do a lot of business yet, but they take cheese and smoke it or add things to it. They'll melt it down and add jalapeno or something to it. And it becomes this wonderful, soft, creamy cheese that you could heat and dip bread in or whatever, naan bread or something. And I'm working with them. So we've been doing, sorry, my eyes got a little twitch. We've been doing cheese tastings for that and preparing to put some of that on the menu if they can get it labeled and stuff.
Awesome. No, that sounds delicious. And I love all that. I might be in the wrong profession if I'm not tasting cheese. That's and so then through the process, how are you guys doing with the utility costs or fixed expenses? Like, it sounds like you have a special deal set up on the building, but have you been able to work with any other utilities or fixed items in terms of, hey, we're just getting set up or negotiating in there?
Well, if you're talking about equipment,
You usually like either utilities or rent or I don't know if you guys are paying for internet at the building or something. That seems a little off.
We're all set up with that stuff. The people that own the gallery, Carrie and Bob, they are teachers over here at WSU as well. And with COVID, they needed to teach online. And so that was kind of a blessing in disguise for us, because that meant they could teach from the building while they were constructing and building out the gallery and the wine bar. So they could do their class on Zoom and then go back and hammer some nails and then go do their next class. And so they were working out of the building since this past summer. And so we had internet, all of that stuff set up immediately. That was just part of getting them in there so they could be working.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. That kind of rolls through the kind of formatted questions that we have for today, but I do want to invite anybody else to hop on. This is a meeting format instead of our usual webinar format, which I kind of like this setup a little bit better because I think we can get a little bit more interaction happening. And so if you do have a question or want to say you're excited or something, feel free to unmute yourself. If you feel brave enough, you can turn on your camera too and hop on, ask questions. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to engage, and I love it. Looks like Marie's ready.
I'm always ready.
Marie's always ready. I can attest to that.
So super exciting. I haven't been over. I'm dying to do that. I did make a joke in the chat when you were talking about a Saturday night date night.
I saw you all snickering.
Well, I wanted to know if it came with a date, but I don't really want one. Just kidding. Carrie and Bob, incredible people, yes. Both wonderful artists in their own right. Who is being highlighted in the gallery? Is it open to all artists? Is it a juried sort of thing? Is it also items for sale? And I assume Carrie probably has plenty of beautiful, her stuff. If you don't know her work, wowzer,
Yeah.
wowzer.
Yeah. Yes. She's amazing. We do have, I'm going to say 10 to 12 artists right now. As far as being juried, really, Carrie is the person to go to for that. And we're full right now, but I also know her hope, if timing goes well, in February, she'll start a program where we will have a rotation and maybe do something like an artist of the month and give that artist the opportunity to come to the gallery, meet our public, the public can meet them, and just kind of some interaction that way.
Yep.
As far as who we are representing right now, we are blessed to have Carrie's work in the gallery. We have also her husband, Bob Krikak. He has some sketching with some watercolors, very talented as well. I'm going to say that about every artist, by the way. They're all amazing.
I agree with you, though. Bob and Carrie are both phenomenal.
Yes. And we've got a man from, he has recently moved to Northern California. He is a wood and stone sculptor. Again, amazing. And I'm not going to remember all of their names, so I'm not going to try to. You'll just have to come in and see them. But we also have this man, before I finish, who lives in Northern California, used to live in Uniontown and retired. And he and his wife moved to Northern California in their retirement. And Carrie and Bob knew them, so they were able to invite him to come and show his wares. So he's up there. We have a potter who is from the Portland area. We have a young gal making scarves and hats and beautiful, beautiful wool, alpaca, great, lovely work. We have Henry Stinson. Probably most of you know of him because he was from here. He's now in Wenatchee, I believe. We have a young, I call him young, he's probably, hope he's hearing that. We have a young man named Kessler, Gregory Kessler. He, I believe, is also an architect teacher at WSU. He has amazing color pencil art. It's unbelievable how much time must be spent on this work.
Wow.
We have Brenna Helm. Some of you might know her or her family. She's also from Pullman.
Tamara Helm's
daughter. Yes. We have, I feel like I'm missing someone. Yeah.
Sounds awesome. So,
Yeah.
So you are set up with they're set up with a point of sale system to actually sell people's work as well?
Yes. So you can buy most of the artwork. I think there's one piece that is out of Bob and Carrie's private collection that they were just happy to be able to put on a wall somewhere instead of cardboarded up in a box in storage.
Yes.
So that's there,
Yeah.
but I think everything else is for sale.
Nice.
Yeah.
I look forward to visiting.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
Wow.
Can I answer all of your questions, Marie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
I can throw some more out if
Whatever's
you want.
going on over there between the boys needs to stop. You're giggling and laughing.
I can't believe there's just that many. Like, I know there's that many artists in the area. I know we're in a really vibrant community area for the arts. It just always amazes me, just all the connections and all the
Yes.
things that come through.
Yes. I do want to say one more thing about something Marie mentioned, which was what kind of was our concept of what art we're having and showing in our gallery. We have a beautiful gallery at the library in the center called the Libby Gallery. They have traditionally shown art that is local only, and very, very talented people show in that gallery. So we're kind of trying to address something different than that by having sculptures and textiles, and not necessarily only sticking to the local Whitman County or Palouse artist. So if you come to Colfax, or when you come, you want to be able to also include them in your stop, because they have, I feel excited that we've got two types of art now to draw people in.
You hit the nail on the head, just in some of your earlier conversation about not wanting to step on toes of the restaurants around you. There's a real beautiful sort of alignment with a friendly competition, if you will, and a complementary business, right? So it's okay to still have art if you can figure out a way to have two galleries that complement each other.
Right.
And I know that from living out in Palouse, that the art gallery out there, when they work with the other businesses in the community to create an environment that people want to come and visit, they go and visit all of the different businesses, whether they're art galleries or antique stores or the restaurant or the bar. People want to come, if they're going to drive down from Spokane, they want more than one place to go. They want several places to go. And so when you can do that, where it's a complementary business, you're much better off. So great job.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love the date night idea. I also wanted to know if would music play a part in your shop? That would be lovely, I think.
We have already discussed that. And as I've said before, we think it's in the future in a couple of years, but you never know. It could happen next weekend. I don't know. But our space is unique and limited. So we're trying to figure out how to do that without using up space that is purposed towards serving someone food and wine, or food and beer or beverage. So we haven't quite come to any conclusions yet, but it's definitely part of the plan that we're discussing and working on figuring out how to do that. We have this little fantasy that someday we're going to be able to kind of go out into the back side of the building. And maybe that would be a place that we could have a musician in the corner or something. It's ideas that we're just kind of throwing out right now and seeing what takes and what doesn't.
I love it. I love the visioning. I love the goal setting, and just being willing to play with it. Like there's so much to being able to not stop that creativity and to really push it. That's fantastic.
Then you'll love this story. We spent Saturday morning sitting at a table in our gallery and wine bar, looking out the window across the street and planning a whole business plan of what we're going to do with the old Chinese restaurant. And we're not even open yet with our own thing, and we're already looking at something else. So
no, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Does anybody else have any questions or things they'd like to ask or bring up? There's about 10 of us in here today. So get about 30 more seconds. I always do an invisible watch. I haven't been able to keep a watch on me. I always bang it on a desk or something. I've never gotten that habit well.
Hey, this is Paul Kimmel. I just want to thank Kimberly, and I have driven by the shop longingly to want to stop in. So I promise I will be in there soon.
I can't see you there, Paul. Thank you.
Hey, Paul, we could go there for a date for our birthday.
We'll talk offline, young lady.
I mean, not a date. You can bring your wife.
Oh, okay. That just didn't sound quite right for
Sorry.
all these tender ears out there.
Paul and I share a birthday, so you can bring your wife and I'll bring my dog.
I still might have a date there for you, Marie. Let's just see what happens.
All right, let me
Maybe
vet it
it'll
first.
maybe it'll be called date night, except for Marie, it'll be called blind date night.
Wow.
like it.
That's scary. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mhm.
For some of you who may not know, Jacob Bray, who's has a still picture, he's exploring starting a brewery in the area. So hopefully someday you'll be carrying his
Maybe, yes, maybe. I feel like the name that somebody told me started with a J. Maybe he's the one that should be talking to me right now.
Yeah, Jacob, if you're still there, and if you're able to pop on your audio, feel free to hop on.
He's probably driving.
Oh.
Nope, I am here.
Hi, Jacob.
Hello, guys. Hi. Yeah, thank you. I've really enjoyed your talk, Kimberly. That was great.
Thank you.
Doesn't
So
he look like a brewery kind of guy?
he does. He does. He would have to be. I will be entertaining guest bartenders, guest winemakers, guest chefs. Come on over, Jacob.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm still in, very much the business planning mode right now, but it's coming along. I still have some time before doors can actually open for sure. Sorry, those are my birds.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it's I'll be specializing in all kinds of fun, creative, unique European ales and lagers and draft meads. So when I'm ready to start,
You had me at fun and creative. I love it. I want to be one of your beer tasters when you're ready.
definitely, yeah. Perfect. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you for
bring some
joining
samples
us.
along, and yeah, that'd be great.
Cool.
Definitely.
Hi,
Yeah, I
Jake.
was really glad I could meet it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, Jacob. I think your beard has grown like 4 inches since I talked to you a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Paul could use some of that.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, shoot.
So I'll open it for any other final questions before we close out for today. But I'll take a moment and once again thank the Southeastern Washington Economic Development Association. That one's long. For helping to support and broadcast this out, and of course the chamber. You guys are always wonderful and helpful with the newsletter and having it posted around. Of course, the city usually sends it out too, and we're just so thankful for just the reach in the community here. It's incredible. And so,
Yes. Agreed.
all right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So thank you all so much for attending today and spending this quality time together. We'll be looking at another one of these next month. We're also looking at putting together some additional workshops. And so stay tuned, and we'll be getting this recording over in probably a day or two. So
Great.
thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. So nice to see you all. Thank you.
Yeah.